So being able to feel comfortable to share your story and know that your managers will support you, that they'll work with you, but really importantly that they'll be led by you and what you need.
I love to see more senior leaders sharing their personal stories in how they fulfil their role as a carer, as well as juggle the high demands of their job in the public sector. I think this is really important, not only to increase visibility that this is normal within our workforce, but also to get some ideas and strategies to help us design our work that fits in with our own personal circumstance.
So flexibility in things like working arrangements, in hours, access to leave, reasonable adjustment for duties if people need that, but also in things like work location, which I think is super important for mob who often live off country and have to go back to family or go back to country. Apart from my household of 5, I also provide caring support and have responsibilities for my grandfather, who's 86 and still living on country independently in his own home. So even though I'm 4 hours away, I provide lots of sort of day-to-day support for him.
It can be hard to switch off from your caring role because even though you're not physically caring for your child while you're at work, your brain still is switched on in caring mode. I spend my lunch breaks often replying to NDIS emails, replying to therapists, looking at what I need to do for my daughter. So being a carer impacts every single aspect at work, and it can be quite easy to burn out if you don't have the right supports around you.
My daughter has cerebral palsy and she requires significantly more care than a typical child. We also have to see specialists, and usually we need to travel for those appointments, and it's usually a day or 2 events. So definitely having a bit of flexibility in my employment was essential for me to be able to maintain my employment. My manager and I negotiated a way that I could work remotely majority of the time. So this was critical for me because I live in regional New South Wales and my team are based in Sydney. How could I attend my daughter's appointments and still work during the same day? So my manager discussed with me how we can implement flexible working arrangements where I can take an hour or 2 out of the day and make it up earlier that morning or later that evening to ensure that I'm able to fulfill my workload, but also make sure I'm there for those very important meetings.
For Aboriginal people, family isn't limited to or defined by, I suppose, that stereotypical traditional notion of a nuclear family. It's also not just physically caring for someone. We provide financial, emotional and social support for people, and in my experience, in most cases, to multiple people concurrently. I also have some responsibility and provide some support for my very sick mother and stepfather, who are both sort of in and out of hospital. So lots of travelling. They're also sort of 4 hours away in the opposite direction. So, I'm often going between, back on country and then going to see, my mum and stepfather as well.
I think that the public sector, by having flexibility and allowing carers to have that flexible work life would mean so much. Being able to work from home, say if you've had a really stressful hospital visit the night before, and then knowing that you can stay at home and care for your child just means so much. Like being regularly checked in by your managers and your team and seeing how things are going for you. And although not many people in my team know about the struggles that we have with my daughter, and they see this beautiful little girl, this beautiful smiling little girl, I think just by them saying, "How are you? How is she going? Is there anything we can do to support you?" just means so much.